whose central goal is to guide you, the audience, throughout a high school experience. One thing that we all know for sure is that you guys are teenagers just like us. Therefore, we ask you to sit back, relate to our experiences, learn from them, and of course, enjoy the show.
My parents, I get into a few arguments with my parents.
School is pretty stressful, tests and quizzes and homework and studying and all this and all that.
Mainly, I worry about my grades. I don't really like having bad grades. Like if I get a C or a D, that really upsets me.
They come up to you and say, oh, you have my friend, oh, you have my girl, we're going to fight over this, I'm going to start saying all this about you.
What's hard about high school is, you know, 8th grade, they're kind of just easy on you, and then you go into 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and they get harder on you, and they're getting harder on you because you need to go to college.
There's definitely some pressure and stress in my life with trying to balance so many different activities and the academics and everything.
Senior year, I'm in a giant pool of stress because I have to figure out everything that's going to happen next year, moving on in my life, and kind of sometimes I just need to step back from it and sit down and think to myself, okay.
About to embark on the biggest journey of your teenage life. High school is known for its many struggles and successes. In a few seconds, you will gain insight on the first phase of these many struggles, self-image.
Hey y'all. Hey. Alright, I want you guys to close your eyes and picture this. So close your eyes. So, picture this. A 14-year-old girl who just got into high school, right? She gets into high school and she sees girls with makeup, girls with boyfriends, and girls with iPhones, right? So she was always told that she was beautiful, strong, and smart. Then high school happened, and it all went downhill from there. So blindsided by this drastic change, she took drastic measures into her own hands and changed herself. Now I want you guys to open your eyes and look at me. Okay. So today we're going to talk about a very uncomfortable topic, and this uncomfortable topic is self-image and self-acceptance. Does anybody know what this is? Just say it out loud.
Confidence.
Okay. So this is a very uncomfortable topic because many people go through this. It's not just one type of person goes through this. Multiple people go through this. It's an everyday thing. The reason why it's so uncomfortable for me is because I recently just started to fully accept myself. I know it's crazy. I know I'm so confident. It's like, how am I so fun with this, you know? But today, I'm going to give you my outline or my plan on how I started fully accepting myself. Now, it's not the same thing for everybody, but the general outline is relatively the same. During my discussion, I want y'all to raise your hands, ask questions, whatever you have to say. Now, I'm not going to answer nothing out of pocket, but if it does to this topic, go ahead, raise your hand and ask it, okay? So the first step is looking in the mirror and saying you love yourself or complimenting yourself. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but every day in the morning, I would stand at the mirror, look at myself, and I would say, I love you, or you're pretty today, or your outfit is popping, or your curls are popping. I would say something that compliments me or how I'm looking today, because I know this sounds crazy, but you're telling your brain that you believe this. And so you keep saying it, and you're actually going to start to believe it. To walk the path of self-acceptance, you have to take that first step. Y'all got that? Yes. All right. So the next step is to live your best life. Now, this is hard for some people because it's always seeing, this step is to see the positive in a negative situation. So for example, if you fail a test and you get an F on that test, you always have a positive side of this. You can have test corrections, you can retake that test, or if it's not those options, you can take another test, get an A on that, and it balances out the other one. You feel me? All right. So the next step for this is to block out the haters. Now this is the most important step, and it's the hardest step for most people because who likes to be talked about? Exactly. So with this, you have to block out everybody who's saying bad stuff about you. If they have your name in their mouth, you're doing something good. Now, again, I'm not saying do something out of pocket, like fight people so that they can have your name in their mouth. But I'm saying if you're studying all night and you're researching stuff and you're getting straight A's, and somebody's like, she don't have no fun because all she do is study and get straight A's, isn't that a good thing? All right. So that's the hardest step to go through, but it really helps, all right? So does anyone have any questions because of that? No questions? All right. So the next step is to have that person. Now, how many of you guys watch Grey's Anatomy or seen it? You know, Christina and Meredith, how that's like their person? All right, so they always vent to each other and they show each other, like they give each other confidence, stuff like that. So if you can't block out the haters or if you're having a bad day, you have confidence in that person to raise your spirits up or they can encourage you to do better, you know? So this could be a dog, a fish, a cat, a teddy bear, a mom, a dad, anybody you can talk to or express your feelings to. All right? So any questions because of that? No questions? Yes.
What if they like don't understand what you're going
The person?
Yeah.
Then you can write down in your journal. I just want you to express your emotions so that you don't compress them up and it blows up and you say something out of pocket or you do something that you're going to regret. So, any other questions? No? Okay. So, from this presentation, I want you guys to take away one thing if you guys didn't listen to anything I just said. I want you to take away this famous quote that I love, and you guys know him. His name's J. Cole. You guys listen to J. Cole? Yeah. You like J. Cole? So he has a song, and the name of it is Love Yours, all right? So on the count, I want you guys to know that you love yourself, and yourself is beautifully created and wonderfully created, and you guys are amazing people, and you're meant to be here, and you're meant to
Sudden intervention. Teachers at this time, please send all rising juniors that start with the letter N and letter O to the Media Center. All rising juniors that start with the letter N in the Media Center.
1, 2, 3.
Students will
Love
be
yours.
to return to class. Thank you.
Relationships.
Jada Dion to it, I swear something's going on with you. Why haven't you started this college essay that's due tonight?
Mom, you don't understand the pressure I'm under right now. There's so much stress.
I don't want to hear it. We've been best friends since elementary school. We get to high school and you're acting so different. You even have new friends now. Like, what is this?
I told you, things change, people change, feelings change too.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Why do you never have time for me?
I mean, you never even loved me from the start, so what's the point now?
Why are you always hanging out with that one girl?
Because I can.
But I need it over.
And? Let us
These relationships seem familiar, don't they? They're all relationships we were brought up to understand, and some we can all relate to. You have mother and daughter, you have best friends since elementary school, and you have girlfriends and you have boyfriends. They're all different, but they impact us the same. But have you ever stopped to think what's going on inside of the other person's mind?
I want to be supportive of my daughter, but the only way I know how to express it is through yelling.
How do you tell somebody you know for years that you've outgrown them?
How does she expect me to show feelings when she never even showed love from the start?
Sometimes all you need is a simple one-on-one, open-minded conversation to truly understand how the other is feeling. We are not the same people from when we were born, and hopefully you're not the same person in 10 years. Growth is inevitable. You have to learn when to let go. A rocky foundation can never support a home, therefore, don't expect it for a relationship. I want you to remember these 3 words: communication, growth, and consistency. Those are the 3 things that a good foundation for a relationship requires. Thank you.
For your senior exit, have community service hours due, and your stress is at an all-time high. These all describe the one and only junior year. Although the phrase never give up now seems like such a cliche, These 3 words will become more important to you than you could have ever imagined.
Go ahead, Yana. Go ahead, Yana.
Sarah got a girl.
Stress, stress. Raise your hand if you can attest. Break down every week, making me not want to eat. Mood swinging left, right, upside down. Is life really this hard? Can my tombstone be ready at the next yard? Graves going 90 miles an hour. Never knew the stench of death would be so foul. Nights like these, I call myself asleep. Or my parents don't hear a peep. Wishing I could drive off and no one would weep. What did I ever do to you, stress? Teachers always saying, try your best. Well, why won't you come be my guest? Sit next to me so I can show you how compressed my brain is from all this mess. Days on end with no rest. Got me feeling like the oppressor since an express or contest or even get undressed. Always been right up under your chest. But I'm here to protest. Stress will not eat you alive like the black men always under arrest.
Let 'em know.
Don't be such a pest in this present. Caress me softly because, yes, I am sensitive, but stress and I will no longer be in the contest. Invest in your happiness. Let's go to recess.
Yes.
Because stress, I've got a request. You're going to need a bulletproof vest as I conjure up this addiction to happiness.
Now,
Sorry, I have to put this down.
I want you all to take a deep breath. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. A breath. We never know when it's our last and final one. We never know when the lights are going to turn out. I want everyone to meditate these questions. Please open your eyes. Who has thought about ending it all just because it couldn't continue? Who has tried to do self-harm because that's the only way to just end it all? Who has felt misunderstood that nobody could ever understand you? Who has felt worthless? Who has felt or has been through depression and has gone through a point of rejecting everyone and everything? At a very young age, I was always told to follow my dreams and to never give up on them. I was always told that I am unique and that there is nobody out there like me. But I was never told that I was going to go through obstacles in my life, much less how to overcome them. I was never told that I would have relationships that would break me. I was never told how to handle those people bullying me. Bullying me from a young age. Thank you for please sit down. Growing up the oldest out of 3 was pretty tough for me. It became so common that my mom and my dad never gave me attention. My dad, he was never home. It became so common that I even forgot he existed. My mom, she was always too busy taking care of my sister, who was going to turn 10 in August, and Javier, who was going to turn 6 this month. Javier was born with Down syndrome. Yet, he's such a blessing to us all. You can tell that there is no negativity in him. That he was an angel sent from up above. But then after so much joy, of course, there always comes some tragedy. About a couple months ago, my aunt, she and I, we were so dearly close. She had passed away. She was 26 years home with 2 children. One of them has autism and the other one has ADHD. After her funeral, I just wanted to be isolated from everyone. I wanted to be alone. I could not bear the fact that I was never going to see my aunt ever again. My best friend. She had committed suicide. Don't know why. But oh dear. Whenever I came back to Charlotte, I felt so distressed that nobody was going to help me out, tell me that I am going to be okay. It's such an unexplainable feeling after this, trying to balance school, trying to balance my personal life. It was so difficult on me. Little by little, the fact that I was never going to see my aunt anymore was starting to sit in. Not being able to see her every Sundays was starting to kill me bit by bit. I fell into a state of depression. At school, I was a completely different person than I was at home. At school, I would act like I would try to make other people, happy, try to bring their self-esteem up just a bit. I only did this because I know how it feels to be hopeless. I know how it feels to have very low self-esteem, and it sucks. And I didn't want anyone else to feel the way that I was feeling at home. When I came home, I would lock myself in my room. I would just cry. You might wonder why cry. What's the point? It's not going to help you. But sadly, I'm such an emotional person. I hold on to grudges. I always try to act tough. That little insult you just did to me, it was so, minor. But sadly, it felt like a gunshot. I started to fall behind on my schoolwork. I didn't turn anything on time. I would procrastinate constantly. Probably the worst idea ever. I mean, nobody noticed. Nobody asked me what was wrong. Those things that I acted a bit strange. At home, I hated. Oh man, I hated talking to people. I hated having interactions with other people because I know that they could not understand what I was going through. But you know what? Once I stepped into school, I would completely change myself. I'm guessing my parents started to notice that I was becoming very isolated. They took me to a youth group at my church. At first I hated it. I'm like, I can never find somebody or something that's going to make me feel better. But then as time passed, I became very dependent on my faith. My distraction was my church. I became very dependent on those that didn't even know me. Look, I don't know who in this room has or had been to depression. Who in this room is in need of a friend? Who in this room is in need of a hug or just a simple smile? But oh man, what I do know, we all go through different situations differently. I am glad that I did not have the courage to do self-harm. I am glad that even though I hated having interactions with people, they were still there. I am glad that my parents would drag me out of my room and go attend that youth group because they knew I needed help. I am glad that I did not give up on myself. And then as time passed, piece by piece, I collected myself off the ground where I was left, and nobody was there to pick me up. Nobody was there to tell me, girl, you'll be fine. But you know what? I am glad that I went through those things because they have shaped me into the person I am today. Now, do you remember those questions I asked in the beginning? Who has thought about ending it all just because you couldn't continue? Who has tried to do self-harm because that's the only way what you were going through? Who has felt worthless? Who has been through depression or just coming to a point of rejecting everything and everyone. I have felt like nothing ever mattered anymore. I have had thoughts about doing self-harm and never actually had the courage to do it. I have wanted to hurt myself just because I felt worthless and lonely. I felt misunderstood, and I thought that nobody was going to care for me or worry. Little did I know I have such an amazing group of friends, a very supporting family, and a lot of people who care for me. But it's now your turn to not just open your eyes, but to open your heart. It's your turn to leave that hate and negativity in the past. It's your turn to show the world who you are capable of being. Don't be motivated. Be determined. Being motivated is you're going to do something, but you're not doing it in the moment. Being determined is you're doing something in the now. Never give up on yourself, because you are uniquely qualified to do whatever obstacle comes in your way. Thank you.
I'm going to start off by posing a question. When you see this bottle, what do you see?
Water.
Some of you will say, sis, it's just a water bottle. But some of you will say it's half full, some of you will say it's half empty. But I'm here to tell you, it's just a little analogy of how I live my life. I see it as half full, because even despite the negative things that may come our way, the stress, the feelings of doubt, we still have positive things going on in our life to set the standard for how we live. Glass half full philosophy. So it starts with self-awareness. You need to know yourself. Just ask yourself questions, figure out what you like, explore your interests, explore your passions. And that is just the way that you need to start off, because self-love is the best love. And you have to start off in order to develop relationships with others. That's how you get that positive growth mindset. Daily affirmations. You have to believe in yourself. You have to start off every morning by saying that you have a goal that you want to accomplish. You can just say, I believe in myself and my capabilities. And having those affirmations will turn into a lifestyle. Exploration and discovery. Not only discover yourself, but also the world around you. It's important to realize how complex and how beautiful this world is. And just travel maybe, or learn about a new culture, anything. That will help you explore the diversity of life, and you'll have a great holistic approach of life. Recognition and application of goals. That not only do you set goals, you also do them. Have those achievements and write it down. Make a journal. Write it down and say, I achieved this. And you'll realize that there's a lot of things that you have in this world, and you have the capability to actually receive the goal. Set positive desires. You have to eliminate negativity in your life. You have to make sure you're not saying negative things to inflict your path. You set those positive desires so that you can live your life with positivity. And eliminate negativity. This includes toxic relationships. This includes any toxic habits that you have. In order to move forward, you have to make sure that you're surrounding yourself by a group of people. Positive. There's an outcome that will occur. You will get through it. And you have to realize that even in the negative situations, there is opportunity in it. You can inspire others. Your negative situation right now, your obstacle, your little setback, your hindrance will ultimately lead to your success, and that shapes you. Find yourself in the service of others. This includes community service, or just simply talking to your friends, letting them know how you feel, talking to each other, being that support system, little things like that. It doesn't have to be something grand all the time, but of course you can reach the community as well. And you'll realize that there's more to life than just, school and everything. It's a whole community out there that you can embrace and live in. Gratitude, being grateful for all your achievements, being grateful for the negative situations, being grateful for your story, being grateful for anything that may have set you back. That all leads to your success. And maybe you want to create a gratitude jar. Put in those negative things, put in those positive things, put in those not so great, put in that, I just failed this test. But even that still is an opportunity to be grateful, because that led to you to pass the next one. You never know. Everything just leads to the next step. And step 10. Live each day towards a greater purpose. There's more to life than just walking here, and you want to live. You don't want to exist. You want to live rather than exist. It's important to inspire others, not just keep your story within yourself. And it's hard to express your emotions to others, but it's important to just share it with others. You don't know if you can inspire someone and help them not go through that same situation that you did. So, any questions though? So, when you look at this glass or water bottle, what do you see now?
Apple.
Thank you. What is your biggest failure? Many of you would say a bad test score, a bad game you played, a class you didn't do well in, or a disappointment you have faced. Every one of us has perceived failure within ourselves. Like the time you said, man, I just failed that math test. The fact that we failed the test isn't the issue. The problem is that every time we take a math test after that, we'll make the excuse, well, I'm just not good at math. I've been doing martial arts for 10 years now. It has been one of the most influential forms of education in my life, but I've struggled along the way. When I was 13, I started to notice how different I was from people I competed against. I noticed that my name was always only called for participation medals. Over the course of that year, I became sad as I came to the conclusion that I wasn't very good. I'd come home from practice and cry, since there was no reason for me to do it anymore. I wanted to quit, but my mom said, I didn't pay all this money for you to quit like this. The things we perceive about ourselves become our truth. Many of us say, I'm not a good student, or I'm not good at the things that I like to do, which is why we stop trying in our classes, it's why we don't try out for the sports we love, and it's why we don't pursue the jobs we're interested in. When I was 14, I went to my first world championship. This was only a year after thinking that I wasn't good enough. I said to myself, don't get upset. You're just here for the experience. But then, I won. And you'd expect that I was super excited, and I was, for about a day. Then I went back to practice, and my instructor said, you're not as amazing as you think you are. And the cycle continued. I was still unhappy, and I was tired of feeling like nothing I did would make anything better. About 3 months later, I met another team from Hickory, North Carolina, and I saw how positive and uplifting they were. It was then that I came to the realization that the way I'd been feeling, that sadness, that feeling of inadequacy, was not because I wasn't good enough. I let someone else's negative opinions invade my life and completely take over. It got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. I had to get out. So I left. Not because I hated them, because I love myself. I joined that uplifting team from Hickory, North Carolina. And although things were great at this new dojo, I was still angry. I was angry that these people, my former instructors, made me feel like I had failed. But I was also angry that I let them. There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that says, for every minute you spend angry, you give up 60 seconds of peace of mind. For a while, all I could think about was how angry I was, and everything they did that made me angry. Every waking moment was consumed by that anger. I eventually realized that I had to forgive the people that encouraged that feeling of not being enough, so I wouldn't be angry anymore. But more importantly, I had to forgive myself for the way I felt for so long. I couldn't grow emotionally or otherwise until I was able to forgive myself and others. One thing I had to realize is forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. When you forgive, you can let go and not be controlled by that anger anymore. One thing I had to realize is going through this made me stronger. It was a blessing in disguise. There are 5 things we do as we approach true failure. We face a minor setback. We create excuses for ourselves just in case things don't work out. We let that negative atmosphere surround us, and we take it at other places.
we have faced true failure. We give up. Now, almost 2 years later, I'm still at that dojo in Hickory, and I'm working towards my 4th world champion title. And I couldn't be happier. The things we perceive about ourselves become our truth. When we don't let go of those perceptions, we lose out on a ton of opportunities. Forgiveness heals us from those perceptions. Those perceptions of us don't have to be our truth. We can make it ourselves. When we don't let go of when we don't forgive each other and ourselves, we live open wounds that never get to heal. So once again, I ask you, what is your biggest failure? Thank you.
All right, now I'd like you guys to take out that silver paper that we gave you as you walked in. Okay. Now take a moment to write down one of your insecurities that you may All right, now what we're about to do is a little chant that we created, and it starts off with I am not. So basically, they're going to show you guys how it's done first. But how you do it is you say I am not, followed by the insecurity that you may have, and as you say it, you're crumbling up that paper, a resemblance that that insecurity no longer has the power that it once did. So on the count of 3, these guys are going to do it, and then after they're done, I need you guys to stand. And on my count of 3 for you guys, you're going to do the same thing. Okay, you got it?
I am not a failure.
Yes. So everyone please stand. Please stand.
Excuse me.
All right, now, it's going to sound a little crazy because everyone's saying something different because we don't all have the same insecurity, of course. So, on your, whatever you've written down on your paper, you say that word. So, at first you say, I am not, and then, let's say one of your insecurities is, if someone says you're scared all the time, for instance, you say, I am not scared, and you sum it up as you say it. Okay, so on my count of 3, I want all of you guys to do exactly that. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm not Alright, so as you guys exit today, what we want you to do is throw away those crumbled up insecurities. We want you guys to realize that those insecurities no longer hold power over you. We want you guys to realize that stress will not bring you down or keep you down. We want you to know to love yourself, and that self-image is very important, but you have to love yours. We want you guys to know that you should see the glass as half full, and we just want you guys to leave here with the knowledge that you should love yourself, and that although high school is hard, it is doable, and we all will graduate. So thank you.